This is Lizzie from Let Zoe Spoil You.
And Sagira from Sagira Salutes You. And together we are Newbie versus Weeaboo. Sagira, Newbie.
Lizzie, a Weeaboo.
It's Newbie versus Weeaboo.
Ahoy!
Heidi, hi.
Hello. Hiya. We're in a bit of a silly mood.
Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, the marbles have slowly rolled away.
Yeah.
Just not held on to many of them this week.
And the weather's getting colder and the lights going dimmer and it's becoming winter.
No. I just said no. Go away.
No to winter. We still have autumn. Let's not forget autumn. We always forget autumn because it would seem like weather-wise it's like summer, winter. There's no autumn, just summer, winter.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, the weather's like not been too bad. Like, I'm still just wearing a jacket, like a light jacket. Well, it's a fleecy hoodie, really. So I'm not in a coat yet.
I'm in bed right now.
It's just you. I mean, I'm in my pajamas, but you know.
Jammies. Trying to think of a segue because we did pajamas Parasytes last week.
Oh yeah, and I was like, that was the weirdest segue ever.
So we need a different segue. Well, the cold weather will not keep away such diseases as parasites.
Segues are getting worse.
Slow crawl, Lizzie. Slow crawl.
Wow.
Episode 23.
Woohoo.
Life and Vows.
Oh.
And we begin, as they often do, where they left off. And it's nighttime. And Shinichi wanders around the woods looking for Goto. And he's saying that he's numb to all emotions. And he's drawn to Goto. He feels like this pull to Goto. And whether that's just because of his intent to get him or because he's still got a bit of Migi senses inside him, we don't know. He just wants to get to Goto. And he knows if he does nothing, more people will die. So he no longer cares about dying. He just wants it all to end, as we all do. We're at that point now where it's like, come on now. Even with the odds stacked against him, he's positive. So that's good.
That's good, yeah.
Then he finds him.
Dun dun dun.
Da, 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 da. I will miss that intro. I do like it.
Yeah.
It's a funky
dubstep, random metal kind of crossover mashup. I'm like, yeah! It's the early 2000s. Oh, monsters!
So Goto is curled up in a ball, which Shinichi thinks must be him sleeping. He acknowledges that without Migi, he can get this close because he won't be sensed. So that's one benefit of no Migi. He wonders if Migi is inside, and he whispers, Migi. Nada. Nilch. Nothing happens. So he's kind of like, okay. And he slices at him with his cleaver. Wacha, the rusty cleaver that he got from Mitsuo's house. It's not good enough, and Goto wakes. He's like, bah! Although, to be fair, most people would wake up like that if you just had a cleaver.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's gonna. If you were in like your weird little like spike cocoon and someone tried to cleaver you, you'd be a bit like, I'm mad now. Why are you waking me up?
I'd be mad if someone just took off the covers. So if someone cleavered me, I'd be raging. I was having a lovely dream. So Goto wakes up and he strikes back at him. Shinichi runs as he
likes to do. He's like, oh no, I made a mistake. Run away.
Run away. Clop, 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 clop. Goto can't find him, as we've already acknowledged that Migi's not with him, so he cannot sense Shinichi anymore. And it would seem like he doesn't realise it's Shinichi because he's like, a human's tried to get me. But does he even know Shinichi's name? Or does
Probably
he just
not. He's just like that annoying guy that was attached to a parasite.
Yeah, because he knows Migi, but he's never really... I mean, has he said Shinichi's name? I cannot remember anymore. So much has happened. We've come so far. It's not in my notes. Shinichi then makes a noise. Dumbass. And,
I'm going to stand on a stick.
Yep. And so Goto just wildly attacks into the night. Just, bah!
It's a flail monster.
But Goto, like, he's such a poised and like calculated warrior type thing. You know, he always looks so graceful when he attacks. Now, because he has no idea what's going on, where this person is, it's dark. He's just wildly flashing around. He's just like, I will get you somehow. So, you know,
That just hears, I'll get you next time.
while Shinichi's hunkered down, he starts to psych himself up, saying that he's got better senses, so that should help him outdo Goto, and he'll be fine as long as he's got a plan. There is no plan.
There is no plan. I
is
mean,
no plan.
have you seen what's happened to Goto? He's gone full monster right there. Like, you know.
The plan was to cleaver him in the back of the head, like, you know.
It's like, oops.
It didn't work.
The plan has failed. Now I'm in a bush.
Exactly. And he wishes that Migi could help. I mean, you know, tough. He's not there. Get over it. Think of a plan. He thinks back to Mitsuo's words of not giving up, and he agrees, and it's kind of like pushes him on, and he's like, no, I will think of something.
Old lady inspiration. It's like, yes.
Oh, yes. Yes, old Asian lady.
Yes, wisdom.
Much wisdom. Shinichi remembers Goto's weak spot was in the back of the neck, as Migi had discussed with him. And even if he can't kill Goto, he thinks he can do some damage at least. And then he finds the sharp, pointy stick.
I was thinking that. It's like, is this the same sharp pointy stick as last time? Well, this explains where he whittled this stick from, because it turns out this forest just has sharp pointy sticks lying around the place. I'm glad that plot hole from the last episode was solved, because I really needed to know where the pointy stick he whittled came from.
Sharp sticks are plenty in there.
Yeah.
Like perfectly.
I want to know what
pointy.
this sharp stick tree is that just has self-whittled sticks that drops to the floor at the perfect length and point.
It's the spear tree. Have you not heard of it?
Ah.
Perfect spears. Like, spears aren't made. They just fall from this tree.
Found in the remote regions of the Japanese countryside.
Absolutely.
There we go.
We've cracked the code. So Shinichi decides that the plan is going to be that he will attack from above, because if he thinks that the neck is the weakest point, then plunging it downwards makes sense, because then it can go through the esophagus and all the internal organs, and that'll mess him up. So he's like, yeah, that's my plan, sitting in his little tree.
Also, falling puts all the added weight and pressure. So, like, 'cause if you go up, you've only got your own body weight, but when you fall, gravity will do a lot of the work for you.
Exactly. So he strikes, but then he's like, the cleaver! He left the cleaver in, dumbass. And so he's kind of like distracted a bit, but Goto's too fast anyway, and he grabs the stick and does like a woohoo and spins him off. He's
like, no stick for you!
You know, one of those clacky things that you as you turn it, it's like one of those, until he's just thrown across. So yeah, that stick worked great for Goto. He's like, something to propel you with. Fantastic. Goto questions why Shinichi came back. Yeah.
Well,
look at him. Why would you come back to that?
What are you doing here? Like, you know I'm going to kill you now, right?
Yeah. And Shinichi comments that Goto has revealed his true form. Really, has he?
I know.
But what I love about the true form is he's still got lovely slicked back hair.
Yeah, he's kept his hairstyle. Everything else has gone mutated to the max.
Yes, a well-coiffed do is the must for every parasite.
I do love it. It's just so anime. It's like, there's the running joke from things like Dragon Ball and stuff. It's like, that wasn't even my final form. So obviously he's like, oh, you're in your final form. And it's like, that's so anime. He's like, he's finally revealed his true form.
Well, Shinichi calls for Migi, but Goto says he's gone. So, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure he says gone, not dead. He just said, your friend, he's gone.
Yeah,
so,
gone.
Yeah, so that's not giving us a final Migi. Shinichi, I'm getting just pure frustration now, punches Goto. It's like, dude.
Yeah. Like,
that might work on pimply teenagers, but look at him.
I know. It's literally made of muscle and knives. That's it. That's all he is. Hardened muscle and knives.
Well, Goto thinks this is hilarious, and he punches him into the next clearing. He's just like, which obviously damages Shinichi because he starts coughing up his internal organs. He's just like,
I like the fact he's like, I have seen many humans doing fist fights. I'm going to have a go. This looks fun. It's like, oh.
And he's very good at it for the
Yeah.
first timer, so well done. Shinichi, when he kind of like comes to, he realizes that he's landed on one of the trash piles that the company had dumped there. So that's kind of good because it softened his landing.
Yep, nice pile of burnt rubbish.
Goto is disappointed for this non-fight. He thinks that a fight with Ryoko would have been far more exciting. And he questions, whatever happened to her? Do you know about the death?
Hint, hint, hint. It's like,
Yep. Shinichi thinks back to Ryoko, saying that Goto is frail but invincible. He thinks of Mitsuo saying, don't give up. And then he thinks of Murano. So all the women in his life start, apart from his mother,
Yeah.
they all just start flashing through his mind. And they're all wise women.
Yeah.
He then wonders why Goto didn't kill him back at City Hall. Because if we remember, Goto jumped down and was like, you! But just before he could do anything, he was surrounded by the army guys. He was like, there's too many people and I'm far too tired.
Yeah.
Mustache.
It's time for a nap.
Yeah. And so he ends up not doing anything to Shinichi when he could have. I mean, he could have just slashed and it'd be
Could have
done.
just gone like, pew, stab dead.
Yeah. But he didn't. He wanted to wait. So Shinichi wonders about this. And then he thinks about Murano's words, we can't lose. Suddenly, as the sun is rising, there's a realization. It's like a light bulb is
The
going
epiphany
off, isn't it?
moment.
Yes. He realizes that that day at City Hall, Goto did have blood. And it was coming out from the gun wounds on his lower back. And he's like, that's it. That is where his weak point is. So now he can finally pinpoint somewhere to attack rather than, on the neck where it's right next to his giant teeth. As he's looking around the rubbish dump, he notices there's an iron rod there and he ponders and he starts thinking, should I try
Try
this?
It's like he goes
he's
from
like,
like, oh my god, I'm in a rubbish dump. Is this where I'm going to die in a heap of garbage? To, I see this pointy thing in the garbage. Should I pointy it in the direction of this crazy monster man?
Should I pointy it? Well, he does. He decides to go for it. He's like, well, win some, lose some, let's go. So with great speed, Shinichi stabs Goto with the pipe in his lower back. And it goes in! He's found the fleshy part!
So, hey, you have been pointed! I mean, he loses his sleeve, but
Yes. Yeah, well, again, win some, lose some. But he dodges all of the attacks and he runs away! Again!
He's like, woohoo! He's off! It's like,
You just want to add whoop, 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 whoop.
I know.
Goto pulls out the rod and blood just shoots everywhere. And he promises revenge!
How dare you pointy me? No!
You found my soft, tender bits. Shinichi stops to rest and he realizes that he's got nothing left. That was his one move. He's got no weapons. He's knackered. He's done. He's done so. He's proud of what he's done, though. He's quite okay with it. He's like, you know what? I got him.
Yeah. He's
One
like, you
to
know
the
what?
moon.
It wasn't like the death blow or anything, but injuring him was at least like he had he's just a human. He had a fair shake and he did well.
Goto finds him and questions how Shinichi knew where to strike. Shinichi explains back on that day what he saw, but Goto is furious that a human could hurt him. He goes to strike, but he hesitates.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's Migi! Yay! And then we get what is now the greatest line in the whole thing, which is, don't resist me. We'll discuss this later.
I know. I love it. It's just like, what?
It's like an old married couple having an argument. It's like, we'll discuss this later. Stop it.
It's like, I want to do some killing, but, just stop misbehaving, do what I say, and we'll talk about it later.
Oh, it really made me laugh because that was the sub. It didn't say that on the dub. It was just like, stop resisting, blows, like all angry. But I'm so glad that I read the sub.
Oh, goodness, you wouldn't have had that. We'll discuss this later. Like, just like, I'm in control now. Head of this household. I'm head of this. It's like if you've got a teenage daughter or something. It's like, I'm the head of this household. You will listen to me and we'll talk about this later.
It was kind of like a stop embarrassing me kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
Stop it. We'll discuss it later. Stop having an argument in front of the human.
Oh, I love the line. It's great.
It was a brilliant. It's now my favourite line in the whole thing. It's at such a good point. Goto manages to overcome this, and he strikes, and there's a calm over Shinichi of like acceptance. You know, he knows Migi's still there, and he's still trying to fight, but you know what? This is his time. He's got nothing left, so he just sits back until a tiny Migi comes out of the stump and
Just like
catches
barely
Goto
some
blade.
fingertips, but it's like when one eyeball. But
One eyeball and two tiny little stumps, which catch the blade, and there's like an electric jolt. Now, this is when Migi comes back, and it's like a brilliant moment. But to me, spoiler for Endgame, it was very much like when Thor arrives on the battlefield with Groot and Rocket. That's what it was, that kind of feeling of, yay, the cavalry is here.
Yes.
Nowhere near as epic as Endgame,
but still,
it had those feels. I feel like if we were watching this in the cinema, everyone would have gone, yay!
yay! It's the blue lightning. It's the because I mean, Shinichi's just sitting there going, "It's going to enter through my right shoulder and come out through my left side, making a perfect cut through my body." And there's a silence, and then there's like, "Ba-ping!" Little tiny Mickey fingers, clash, lightning bolts, very very frightening. Ah, wibbly 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 wibbly. Hey.
Oh, hi. But yes, it was brilliant. It was very well done. So now that this has happened, Goto's just ready to kill them now. He's like, death to you both. But Migi informs him that on his way out of his body, he shredded most of it. He was just like, choo, choo, choo. So he will have to repair this before he fights again.
All his organs have been pulverized. I mean, that takes some time to heal from.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, if it took that long for Migi to heal Shinichi, just his heart, how long is it going to take for Goto to do his entire body?
Yeah.
You know? Goto starts to struggle, and Migi explains that the parasites within Goto are trying to escape. So there is a fight between the body and the head. And this is kind of what they wanted to do with the flamethrower, wasn't it? They wanted to make that disturbance inside of him to shock all the parasites so that they would all have a dispute of, oh, I've got to get away from this hot thing. Oh, but I'm attached to you. Oh, crap.
Yeah. It was like mess with the outer layer and the molecules and make them panic. And also in Goto's case, because there's more than one parasite in there, make them like disagree with how to react to the situation. So Goto's like, I want to kill you. And the other parasite's like instinct for survival. Because obviously we know parasites are very into the I will survive. They're like, no, I want to get away with this.
Exactly. It's very clever. But also, Migi said this was also due to the poison that Shinichi had stabbed into his body. And that was from the rod from the rubbish dump. Migi says that as he himself has never taken over Brain, he's not experienced anger, and Goto's emotion comes from the desire to devour the human species. The emotion accumulated into war and bloodshed. But his time has come.
Yeah.
Migi gives the final blow, and Goto explodes. I was not expecting that.
It all kind of happens. It's kind of like, oh, he's just turned into basically a rage beast. So he's that drive of you must go kill. He just went basically nuts with it, and rage and pure anger went nuts. Went all mutated. And then all the other parasites in him were like, we're being poisoned, I want to get away from here. But Head was just like, no, I kill now. And they basically all just rip each other to shreds, then get his head chopped off and explode all at the same time. And I'm like, whoa, that is graphic and very unhappy death.
Yeah, no, I did do a little ooh.
Yeah.
I was expecting just to be sliced, not explode
I know,
into
it's like
millions of pieces across the forest.
You've been poisoned, your body's had a coup, you're getting your head cut off, and your organs got pulverized all in this split second.
Not nice. I mean, Goto's killed a lot of people, so can't feel too sorry for him, but at the same time, wow.
Yeah.
So now that he's dead, Migi and Shinichi start to walk back. I'm assuming they're going home. Migi explains that when connected, Goto could control the other parasites, making them sleep at will. So like when Migi is asleep in Shinichi, Shinichi can then control his arm again. So Goto could control the whole body, so he was constantly in control of all of them. Migi was also asleep, but it was nice to be asleep and still have information flowing through him. So he's getting that intellectual input, but he didn't have to do anything.
And probably
Which is
learning
nice.
a lot.
Yes, and that's like the ultimate learning, isn't it? Learning in your sleep.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Shinichi finds his cleaver, and they walk back to the trash pile. Migi thinks that the poison was from the hydrogen cyanide from burnt plastic. And in the end, no one can beat man.
Dun, dun, dun. See, this is where we get like our eco vibe and our like eco-terrorism and our nature. And it's like mankind will always win because they have made poisons that can destroy biological entities in life without really even trying. And they are happy to spill this crap just out into nature. So we get our like, oh yay, we're poisoning the earth kind of moral of the story.
Migi tells Shinichi to go back to Goto because he's trying to pull himself back together. How creepy is that?
Like, little flesh maggots going, oh, and you can hear them shouting. Like, it's like, oh, screaming flesh maggots.
When they get there, Migi says that the explosion expelled the toxins from his body, so he can now try and get back together without being poisoned. And Shinichi asks, then what? So once he's back together, what happens next? Because who knows what's going to appear once he's like pulled his little fleshy pieces back together. Migi says he might be slightly less powerful, but he will still want to kill them. So although his body is screwed, his mind will still be where it was before he exploded. His memories will
still going to be a murderous rage monster.
Yeah. They conclude they must kill him, so Migi prepares himself. But then he can't do it. He says it's still his own kind and they shared a body. This, in human terms, would be considered murder. So all those law books and Crime and Punishment and all that kind of stuff that he's been reading, it's kind of taken an effect on him.
Yeah.
And he's realised that he doesn't want to kill his own kind when he doesn't have to. Because, like you said, he only kills to survive, and this isn't him surviving, this is him just killing.
Straight up murdering, yeah.
Like, he's no threat now, so, well, right now. Who knows what he'll be after.
Because he's only killed his own kind for self-defense. He hasn't, like, which is why he didn't want to go out hunting them down in the first place. But now he's kind of like, he doesn't want to be a murderer. He's taken on board some of that human ideals of, like, this is just cold-blooded murder. This is not survival. There's no need for this. I'm just going to kill one of my own kind. And he spent time with Goto inside him and been part of his own species and got to know them a bit better.
And also there's no honour in killing that way, like a defensive thing. It's an unfair fight. If he had killed him when he was fully beasted out, then okay, it was something that needed, but now he's a squirmy little mass of flesh. But because he can't do it, he wants Shinichi to do it with the cleaver. Over to you.
Yeah, it's like, you can do this one.
Yep, tag, you're it. Shinichi questions about killing him, and Migi says he doesn't have to, but... And then Shinichi finishes with, Goto would keep coming after them, killing everyone till Shinichi is dead. There is no option. So they can't take that risk. He thinks back to Ryoko's words of parasites being frail life forms, so don't push them around. He then thinks of why parasites exist. The overpopulation of the human race, pollution, extinction of other species. I mean, these are all good reasons to thin out the human population if all this stuff is hurting the earth. We're hurting the world that we're living on. Why? Goto was powerful, but not against what man can make. Shinichi asks, so in the scheme of Earth's life, humans are the poison, and they're the cure? Who decides that? Who decides the value of human life? And that's a really heavy question. Like, that's who does decide? Because then it brings up the whole thing of, like, the death penalty and all that kind of stuff.
There's a lot to read into it. It's like, who really has the potential to judge humans, especially if you're not religious?
Migi tells Shinichi to decide quickly because he's slowly pulling himself back together. Shinichi doesn't want to kill something so desperate to live. And then he says, the unwillingness to kill is the last price left of humanity. Shinichi can't do it. He'd rather let fate decide, and Migi's fine with it. So they leave. Migi asks if Shinichi thinks the Earth is beautiful, and Migi can't understand those who claim that they're doing things for the Earth, as the Earth shows no emotion or appreciation. But it does. It doesn't say anything. But the Earth does show you its appreciation by, like, you know, having like really beautiful landscapes and animals running free and living in their own habitats and things, and clean water and all that kind of stuff. That is the appreciation of the Earth,
Yeah.
you know. And then when we do horrible things to it, it can't do any of that. So it can't
No.
show its appreciation because things die.
It's like Miggy is thinking of the Earth as like people are treating it as if it's got its own emotions. And it's like, no, but we do things for the Earth. But a lot of the time we do things for the Earth actually just for ourselves.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the Earth isn't healthy and spinning round as it should be, then where do we live? Where do we go? What do we
Yeah.
do?
We've got to
There's
respect
no,
the planet, and then it
yeah,
will provide all the resources we need to exist and live. We just have a small habit of taking things without actually appreciating where they come from.
exactly. Shinichi turns to camera and says, "So I leave it to fate." And then we get and then we're transported back to Shinichi standing over Goto. So that was kind of like the idealistic ending
Yeah.
in Shinichi's mind. But unfortunately, he understands that he cannot risk the safety of others and his family. Ultimately, it's like, yes, I would love to not have to do this. I'd love to leave it to fate, but fate might mean everyone dying. Fate
Yeah.
might mean that Goto goes on a huge rampage and innocent people are killed. People who have no idea any of this is going on. Like all those villagers who are living in Mitsuo's village, like they're all out there living like naturally, and they've like got their wooden houses and they're trying to protect the Earth, but they could all die if Goto lives, because that could be the village he sees on his way out,
Yeah.
you know,
So
and they don't deserve.
there's that whole thing of like, idealistically, he does not have the right to judge another creature whether it lives or dies, but also the right of being human and being up where he is in society and stuff means he also has the right to protect other people and his loved ones, and it's human instinct to want to protect the people you care about. So he's got to be like, what right do I have to take away this life? But at the same time, what right does this life have to take away everyone I care about and all the innocents as well?
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
There we go. Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. He says it's not Goto's fault and he is sorry, and then he slashes at the meat pile,
Yeah.
basically, so it cannot join again. Mitsuo's house, the locals rush to the forest and she's told that they found the monster's body. And she asks, "Did you really do it, Shinichi? Go find out." Go with them.
She's a
You can
little
steal it.
lady.
She can get there. She's a tough old broad. Shinichi walks down the main road. The camera pans to the sky and Shinichi says, "Let's go home." And then
Yay.
And that's the end of the series. There's no more. We don't need any more. Yay! It's a good ending. That's the end. It's not. There's still another episode.
Yeah.
Do you think they did that on purpose to make people think that it was going to be the end, and then they were like, "Ha! Extra episode."
Because people know how many episodes the series will have. Because the runtime of a series will be announced.
Fair enough.
So then they'll be going, okay, I wonder what's going to happen in the next episode, because we know it's going to be 24.
But this is it. It's like there are unanswered questions, such as what happened to Origami? Did he get caught again? Is he out slicing and dicing? Is he keeping low? What's happened to the dude? What's going to happen with Murano and Shinichi's relationship? Is he going to tell people about Migi? Because that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah. Especially
After he
since like,
lost
all the
Migi.
parasites are now officially dead, apart from him and Uda.
Well, I was going to say, are they? Have they actually got them all?
Or
Because
they
they
just got that weird cell that was going full eco-terrorist.
And then the other thing is, where did the parasites come from? Like, did Hirakawa actually create them? Because he said he used them, but he didn't outright say he created them.
Yeah, that's
So
why we
did
need
he
another
create
episode.
So Did he ask someone to make them? Did he just find them and use them? You know, what's the spore? What is the spore thing that transports them? There's a lot of questions, and if they're not answered in the next episode, I'm going to be mad. I'll be like, bring out the film. Bring out that final concluding film.
You're just gonna have to wait and see.
I will. Not too long, though. Too long. But yes, one last episode of this, and then after that we will do our recap episode where we just have a little chat about things we may not have talked about or things that we found particularly interesting. And also, like in the concluding ones, we kind of do the overall arc rather than spreading it out over however many weeks.
Yeah,
we can do one big, and this is what this whole thing was leading to. This is all the messages that were laid out in this series in one nice little package.
Yeah.
So not particularly sad episode. I mean, the main sad thing is the fact that Shinichi had to take a life that he didn't want to. Is it a kitty?
Yeah. She's on my tea table, and I'm just like, you knock over my tea. But she's like, notice me! Notice me! Don't stay away from the teacup. You shouldn't be on the table. That is not a place for kitties.
Kitty shenanigans.
I don't know if I can turn this round and be like, look at this naughty beast. Look at this naughty beast.
Oh, you're so naughty.
You're naughty. Nick judges you. No.
Hey, Parasyte. Cute little kitty. Okay, not particularly sad, but we'll do it anyway. Sagira's happy moment with Lizzie.
I put my house on the market. There we go. We'll go with that.
House on the market.
Yay! I'm moving up in the world. I'm selling a house. And
so if you're interested in living in the Bath area,
go on to Rightmove. You might find my house.
Not that we're telling you the address or anything.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You can find her at
I'm selling a house. That's quite exciting. I don't know if I'm kind of excited, but the part where it's really stressful is starting to kick in. So it's kind of happy news, but at the same time, I'm very aware that it might become stressful news.
Yes, well, it is one of the 3 most stressful things you can do in life, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's exciting too.
It is exciting. I'm in the excited phase at the moment, so I'm like, this is awesome.
My happy thing is, I mean, the series isn't happy, but it makes me happy. I'm watching The Boys series 2.
That is good.
I love it. It's such a good series. If you haven't seen The Boys yet, go onto Prime and watch The Boys. It is so good. All the actors are amazing.
Yep.
It's the guy who plays Homelander is perfect. He's so good at that role. He's so good at being the hero and then the anti-hero. It's amazing. Go watch it. Go watch The Boys. I love it. You'll love it. We all love it.
It is good.
Okay.
Brilliant TV.
Wonderful. Okay. So the cat's licking its ass and looking at me. Stop it. It's creepy.
So we're both basically being stared by our cats going, I'm watching you. Meow, 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 meow.
Watch me lick my bum. Watch me. No, we've got past that part of our relationship.
Cats, they are weird.
Not cute anymore. It was cute when you were a kitten. It's not cute anymore. Anyway, social media.
Mine is coming in on exploding body. It's all my guts
You've
landing
exploded
everywhere.
before.
Yes, many a time.
Exploding again.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Have I? I don't think I've exploded before.
You have. You were a weird tentacle thingy, and you exploded and ended up in pieces. This is a different tentacle thingy.
Yeah, this is a different kind of explosion. You know, I want to see some splats on the screen and some body parts running down. Come on.
Lovely. My social media is coming in on a trash pile. Beep, beep, beep. Sweep it away, sweep it away, sweep it away. Social media.
I love that your social media came in on trash. I mean, come on. Give yourself some respect.
No, it is the diamond amongst the treasure. No, not the treasure. The treasure amongst the trash. That's all. It is the treasure amongst the trash,
yes.
all right?
We've rummaged through this horrible trash pile. Some people have burnt it on fire. But in amongst it, there is Sagira's social media.
Yeah,
It was
surrounded
worth
by
saving.
toxins. Say bye-bye, Lizzie.
So from a Weeaboo, this is Jane.
And from a newbie, it's...